And so this is the largest cohort of sophomores that we had in a while regarding our male students. So Reach, Academic Affairs, Student Affairs too. I tell people, and you all look on your degrees, when you look at it on the wall, you see maybe 2 signatures. The chair of the board at that time and the president. But every degree has 700 invisible signatures. Because that's everybody on campus plays a role in making sure that student walks across the stage. Yes. When you go in the cafeteria, the lady who's taking your meal card has something smart to say to you. Right. And I say that smart in a good way, she's teaching you something. Exactly. The guys who are cutting the grass, pick it up, dump it in the trash. All work has value and meaning, and the lessons that they indoctrinate to our schools is equally as important as mechanical engineering.
Absolutely.
This is my last and final slide. Next slide. All right. Now, I said that I have 4 children, but I really have 5 because he's 2 by himself. This is Rolandus III. He is beloved by both of his parents, especially his daddy-o. That's what he calls him. But Rolandus III has certain inherited advantages. His dad earned a PhD from a Research One institution. His mother earned an undergrad degree from a Research One institution. So Rolandus doesn't have to really want for anything. He has parents at home who love and care for him. But this is what I know about Tuskegee University. You don't have to have a Rolandus Rice or any one of that magnitude in your home for you to be successful.
That's right. That's right.
We don't want birth and background to be barriers to any student.
Absolutely.
And so we're having this pipeline to preeminence. We're not going to start preparing students for preeminence when they make it to Tuskegee University. We want to reach them at the same age as Rolandus III.
All right.
He gave his graduation speech at a few months ago. You all probably saw it on Facebook. And it was a moving moment. As he says what he wants to do and where he's going, he says, TU. And everyone in the church, TU or not, you know. But he knows where he wants to go. Because he comes to work with me sometimes. He comes to eat lunch with me sometimes. All students need to know about the value and beauty and brilliance of Tuskegee University.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're going to do in the Black rural South. Dr. Brown talks about it all the time, about the number of black males in the South and how we can reach, teach, touch, and transform them. So as I take my seat, I told him on Friday morning in our cabinet meeting, and we meet every morning at 9:30. I said, sir, I'm reminded of certain historical periods in American history. And I talk about the Great Awakenings. The first Great Awakening, 1730s. Second Great Awakening, 1750s. Third Great Awakening, 1850s. I said, sir, after hearing your speech last night, I think we are in the midst of a great awakening.
Yes.
And so I'm honored to serve, and Dr. Brown, honored to be on your team. Thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm indeed honored to be here and speak to you. And more importantly, I'm even more excited about serving our 10th president. So thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I've served under 3 presidents now, hired by Benjamin Payton and hired also by President Charlotte Morris. Let's give her a prize. Yep. And now serving under Dr. Brown, and I can't tell you how even more I'm excited about his vision for this institution, especially when he talked about the U.S. News and World Report, because it's always been my goal to be number one on that list, okay? So I tell people from Spelman, Morehouse, and Howard, and I guess maybe now FAMU, but in that top 5, we coming. We coming, and we're gonna get to number 1, Hoover Crook, okay? That is our target, and that's been the goal under Dr. Morris, and I'm really excited about this opportunity as well. Next slide. As provost, I have 2 primary responsibilities. One is what we would call strategic enrollment management, and the other is academic programs. And I am indeed very fortunate that I believe I have the best director of admission and recruitment, not only in the state, but in the Southeast, if not the whole United States. And so I want to give props to Dr. Griffin and have her say. Dr. Morris decided to somewhat merge the responsibilities of the provost's office with enrollment management. And as a result, in the last year and a half, we have reversed the enrollment decline for the university. And a lot of that is attributed to Dr. Griffin and her team. And we are on our way to surpassing the strategic plan goal of 3,000 plus students. And a lot of it is because of our strategic efforts in recruiting new students, but also innovative approaches to retain returning students. So both of those got to go hand in hand, right? We can bring in 800 to 1,000, and we believe that in a few weeks it'll be closer to 1,000, okay? But there's another 2,000 plus that we want to return back to university as well. And so our efforts, including the efforts of our REACH Center, you hear about that, and the leadership of Dr. Samuels, just doing an incredible job with not only with regard to career advising, but advising as well, and providing the necessary tutoring and remediation services for the university. So many of you may have heard about some of the FAFSA challenges over the last year or so, and let me tell you, it has been real and it has been hectic. In fact, it was predicted that the HBCUs obviously was going to have a dramatic impact with regard to recruiting students. But I'm here to tell you that Dr. Griffin and her team, and previously Ms. Piles, and that whole group, they strategically put all the things in place and responded accordingly, and with the compressed time of reviewing FAFSA applications, we're able to serve all of those applicants that we had. And so we are approaching 1,000 incoming students, and let me give you some context, because historically that number has been around 600, okay? Incoming class, 600, 700. So that delta, that difference is significant in terms of recruiting students. And we have been really successful in reaching out not only to major metropolitan cities, but also the small counties where a lot of students are as well. And so we are expecting our enrollment to top 2,900, and we'll have the second consecutive increase in enrollment. We've also seen more applications, and many of you are aware of the context of the country and the climate, and some say HBCUs will see more students. I would say, well, it depends on the level of consciousness of parents and students.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean that sincerely, because that's a decision that the parents and of course those students will make. You know, a year and a half ago, I thought for sure my son was going to Morehouse College. Did a great tour. I mean, if I was 17, I would be going to Morehouse College. But he decided to come to Tuskegee.
Right.
Because of the experience that he had with the individuals he visited with, walking around the campus, the history, and all the things that contributed to him making that decision. So when he told me over breakfast at a restaurant, and I said, KJ, have you made your decision? And he just looked me dead in the eye and said, Dad, I think I want to go to Tuskegee. Now, when he said that, my response was, are you sure that's your decision? Inside, I was like, yes! And I said, you recognize all the eyes going to be on you because he's a junior.
Yeah.
All right? So everybody's going to be looking at you, and the professors as well. So you ready to do that? He said, yeah, I can handle it, Dad. Okay. I said, all right, you make your own path. Now I only see him when he wants to come wash his clothes.
Yeah.
But he's had a very good first year, and he's excited about returning as well. Often it's asked, what are our top majors? And this has been pretty consistent, actually, for the last 5 or 6 years. Animal science still is the number one, and then nursing. We have a very unique new degree, liberal arts, for many students that, quite to be honest with you, have not decided what they want to do. But it's a very valid degree, and you can take courses in multiple areas and truly be interdisciplinary in its way. And then many of you asked, where are our students coming from? To Dr. Griffin and her team credit, we really were not doing a good job recruiting students from Alabama, okay? I'm just being honest, okay? And A&M, they were cleaning our clock, right? Mainly because of state resources and scholarships that they had. So I get it. But there are things that we could have done better to address and provide those opportunities. A&M, good school, it ain't Tuskegee.
That's right.
Okay. Alabama State, okay school, but it ain't Tuskegee. Okay? And as an engineer and a strong advocate for STEM degrees, there's only one school to go if that's what you want to do. Okay? And so we made a concentrated effort over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, to go out and to go to Alabama Mackin School in Mobile, and to go to LaFleur, and to go to right in the backyard of Huntsville and recruit students and say, Tuskegee, we believe is the best choice for you. Now, not all of them decided to come here, and maybe that's probably okay, but the top and the best students have made that decision, and it's been reflected in our enrollment. Next slide. So the other responsibility is academic. So I'm gonna go through these, and there are a lot of great things happening at the university, but there are a few challenges, okay? And that's with any organization. In fact, that's even with our own families, right? There's always challenges. And so I will tell you that the dedicated faculty, and I mean that sincere, having served as a dean of engineering for over a decade, it's really about investing in your faculty, okay? That really, in my judgment, makes the university. Students come first. Dr. Brown has made that very clear. But when it comes to credentials, commitment, dedication, quality instruction, learning, advising, coaching, That is faculty.
Yeah.
Okay? And we are committed to make sure that the 230 plus faculty at the institution are doing their job and their responsibilities. So, evidence of that. We just received a $9 million grant from NIH where a new building, a research building in genomics, going to happen on our campus. We haven't had a new building on our campus in a while. But this is a research building, and it addresses many of the things that Dr. Brown has mentioned about coming up with solutions to improve quality of life. Quality of life of people that looks like the people in this room. Okay? And that's fantastic with regard to what we're doing next. We exceeded $70 million in research, this little small school in LA, Lower Alabama. Okay? $70 million. If you look at the number of research dollars per faculty or the number of research dollars per student, we rank number 1 of HBCUs and pretty close in the top 20 of all universities in the country. And so we plan to continue that, and I'm really excited that Dr. Brown is a strong advocate for our research effort. Now, we have 62 academic degree programs. 62. 2 of them, unfortunately, have some challenges when it comes to accreditation. They are professional programs and they are graduate degree programs. Occupational therapy and our vet program. But I assure you, Dr. Brown and this team that you see in front of you, full court press, we're addressing both of those concerns, and I can assure you we will address that and take care of that in the months ahead. And so I'll end with new programs. We're excited about our new data science program. Dr. Brown mentioned about degrees that have industry demand or that are in demand. He mentioned also about jobs, but I tell you what, another pathway is also entrepreneurship. And we got some brilliant students on our campus. And entrepreneurship is also a pathway for our students. And I do want to, I understand that the dean spoke to many of you yesterday, and Dr. Shannon addressed some many of those questions about the nursing program. The real issue in my judgment is, what are we doing now? And we have addressed the challenges in the past. And for last year in 2023, we had a 95% pass rate for our nursing students that are in the program. So we put in the right things to enhance the nursing program. Now, we got nurses that graduated during COVID, 2020 and 2021 and even before, and they are taking the test, which is actually bringing down the score. But the nurses that are coming out of the Tuskegee University right now, not right now, 100% and 95% pass rate, and we're going to continue to do that. So I'm going to end there. I appreciate this opportunity, and glad that you're all here, and thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
On behalf of the Office of Admissions and Enrollment Management, I just want to give this room a round of applause. So we have worked so tirelessly in the Office of Admissions to make a difference in our enrollment, and it's because of you. We know that there's so many alumni that have jumped in and sent buses for, say Carla, like our Atlanta Club, our Augusta Club, sending buses to us for an open house, or jumping in to cover alumni events for us, because we cannot be everywhere and all things to all people. So I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you. I know Dr. Hargrove always says Dr. Griffin and her team, but you all are a part of the admissions team, and I just want to thank you for that. I only got 2 slides. If you know me, you know that I love to talk, and I don't know how I'm going to do that with 2 slides. But I just want to say it's time again for care training. Raise your hand if you were care trained last year. Great. We are looking to increase that number. If you are interested in recruiting for us in your area, you have to be certified as an alumni recruiter because we want to make sure that you have the most pertinent and relevant information. What's happening at the university? Things are not like they were in the 90s when I was here, or the 70s, or 60s. So I just want to say we're going to do our first care training August 11th at 4 p.m. if you want to make note, and I will send that information to our regionals and club presidents to disseminate that. Open house is October 19th for fall and March 21st for spring. Admissions criteria has not changed this year. High school GPA unweighted, that means we are using the unweighted GPA. You all call a lot, oh no, she's got a 4.0. Yep, on a weighted scale. Well, we use unweighted, so make sure that you know the differentiation in those. 21 on the ACT, 1080 on the SAT. We do know that the SAT will make some changes, but it won't impact us till spring 26, actually. Dr. Hargrove and I have already discussed, we will be requiring the science portion because we are such a heavy STEM school. Again, students can do test optional if they have an unweighted GPA of a 3.0 or higher. That requires a letter of recommendation and an essay. You can find those essay prompts on the webpage. Or they can go standard, which is the SAT scores, ACT scores, and their GPA. This year, however, we are implementing an application fee. So if we are number 5 in the United States, we need to at least collect an application fee, right? We have been waiving it probably pre-COVID, right? So we pay for good shoes, we pay for good purses and good suits. We're going to pay for a good education starting with this application fee. And with the money to help for marketing. So our scholarships have not changed. We will continue to offer the presidential scholarship, which starts with a 3.7 unweighted, 28 on the ACT, 1,300 on the SAT. Again, with the presidential and the university merit, those cannot be test optional. You have to have the credentials to get those awards to keep me out of Mr. Odom's office. We also have the University Achievement, the TU grant, and the Alabama Incentive, and that information is on the screen. I will briefly, if I can just, okay, thank you. This year we rolled out the 143 plan. I was going to say Project 143, but that sounded too close to something else that I don't like. Don't use that. So we're going to go with 143. So it's our 143rd anniversary, right? So in admissions we came together and said we have one goal, right? Our goal is to recruit alumni. Right? You would think it would be to recruit freshmen, but we want to recruit alumni because you're not just coming there to go to class, you're coming there to graduate. So we want to make sure that we work closely with Dr. Rice in his office to provide a comprehensive experience for students so that they get that head, heart, and hands experience so that they actually matriculate to the point of graduation. That's our one goal. Our 4 focus groups will be STEM, of course, veterans, male students. Will be working with Dr. Rice as well. Speaking of that, we're looking for a male recruiter if you know someone interested and can be a little flexible in their life. And then also looking at our international enrollment to get that number back up. So that's our 4. And then our 3, what are our 3 strategic ways we're going to do that? Of course, our alum. We're going to increase our care training, making sure we have better connections with our alum that are helping. Campus-wide predictive modeling. I love that Dr. Brown loves data because I'm a data nerd as well. And then we're going to rebrand. I know a lot of people have asked about marketing materials, but we are in the process of rebranding all of our marketing materials. Some of our giveaways, our search pieces, so that they have different pieces along the stages of the enrollment funnel. So look for that information to come out as soon as we get it approved by marketing. And that is all that I have. Thank you again.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I am so honored to be here with so many of you friendly faces that have put your arms around me, my family during this matriculation at Tuskegee. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about our accreditation, and I'm so excited, next slide, to speak to you about it this time, because last time when I spoke to you all about accreditation, we had some real challenging issues. We were a step away from regional accreditation probation. We are not there. We have two forms of accreditation, and you all know our regional accreditor is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, SAC-COC. We have been accredited by SAC since 1933. That's a long time. That's a long time. And you talk about the standard, and you talk about excellence. We have set the standard. And the beauty about SACs that I love is that I kind of name me, if I have any athletic fans here. So name me the best athletic conference. Okay, give me another one. SEC. But let me tell you the beauty about all those conferences. Whether you're in the SEC, whether you're SWAC, you still have to go under SACs. So what does that tell me about Tuskegee? It tells you the same academic standards that the research ones, the research twos have to jump through. We do the same thing. So that tells you that we still have the quality education, that we still are the gold standard when it comes to our academic programs. So whenever someone wants to tell you about SACs, you can tell them about Tuskegee, because we all have the same things, and they don't change when we have to submit our reports. We submitted our 5th year interim report in March of 2024. We do have a follow-up report on some issues. These are not major issues. There were no issues related to before. They were finances and our student learning outcomes. We were cleared on all of those. So we have no major issues, and that report is due April 2025. So we are good when it comes to our SAC-COC standard. Next slide. Just like we have our regional accreditation, we have what we call specialized or program accreditation. And those are the accreditations for our respective programs. And you heard Dr. Hargrove talk about our College of Veterinary Medicine, which is the American Veterinary Medical Association, and ACO, which are occupational therapy. So we do have some challenges, and I'm just gonna go through this slide, this table, next slide. This table, and you see that for our School of Nursing, we are up. You see our current status, accredited. We are up for accreditation in 2024. We are presently working on that self-study, which is due in August, and we will have an on-site visit in October of 2024 for our nursing program. Our College of Business and Information Science was re-accredited. We are not up for accreditation until 2028. And our Computer Science program accredited and not up for accreditation until 2027. Our School of Nursing and Allied Health, the occupational therapy program, as Provost Hargrove stated, we have some challenges. We are on probation, but we are still a fully accredited program. So, and we are working as a team to make sure that we can work through this probationary process. Our School of Education, they were recently, with their CAPE accreditation, found to be very successful, and they will not be reaffirmed until 2030. ABET, our College of Engineering, is going through that process now. Their self-study has been submitted, and they will have an on-site visit later this fall. Architecture, they're preparing their self-study. for 2024. Next slide. Construction Science was just recently accredited. They'll be up for our next review in 2030. Council of Social Work and Education, 2026. Our Dietetics Program, 2030. And our College of Veterinary Medicine, which Provost Hargrove stated, they are presently on probation, but they are still a fully accredited College of Veterinary Medicine. And our Public Health was affirmed in 2027. Why does this matter? This matters because this shows that if you look at the majority of our programs, they are accredited. And they are accredited by the gold standard in each of those respective areas. So this shows you that our faculty, our administrators, they are doing the work. But more importantly, also shows that our students. Because for each of those respective programs, there are student learning outcomes. And we just can't say what our students do, we have to measure it. Next slide. Now this is one of areas of challenges. This is our retention rate. And as you see, we've taken a dip in regards to our retention. But we've done the data, we've done the homework to figure out why. I talked with some of you in the fall about what was causing this, and some of this has been with our gateway courses. And we have teams that are working on that. And we have one of the members of our team, she is a TU grad, our retention coordinator. I don't know if Mrs. Edna Woodson is here, but I saw her earlier. But we are working very tirelessly to deal with this retention issue. And one of the reasons why is because President Brown has charged us with 3 things when students leave Tuskegee. That they will leave with 3 things. 1 is a degree. 2, an internship. And 3, credentials. So what we are going to do, working with, if you go to the next slide. We were at the Reach Center, and I want to thank the Tuskegee Alumni Housing Association that actually gave the Reach Center $18,000 to help with our students for student success. So I'm not personally thanking for that. So we are going to work in regards to increase student retention. But also there's a number that when we talked about being the number 4 HBCU, we are the number 1 university, regardless of PWI or HBCU, when it comes to social mobility. We are ranked number 1 in the nation for social mobility. That's a big deal, because that goes along with President Brown's, what he says about a student will come out with a degree, internship, and credentials. And to me, I'm gonna tell you why that's important, not just being an administrator, but more importantly, you know, with data we do quantitative and we do qualitative all the time. But sometimes it's the qualitative. And Dr. Rice, I did bring pictures, so my apologies. But I'm gonna tell you a story. I received a text yesterday when I was sitting in the 9:30 meeting, but I was paying attention. And the text said, "Wow." And I was like, "Is everything okay?" She said, when I was sitting, and I will say the faculty member, she said, when I was sitting in Dr. Akashay's class, and I was complaining about dynamics and manufacturing processing, she was complaining. She's doing an internship at Boeing, and she walked through the lab at Boeing, and she was asked questions. How does this work? How does with other interns? She answered all the questions. But this is not the first time this has happened. Last year, at the NRO, when she was doing an internship, and she was sitting with students at first when she heard MIT and Berkeley, and they asked questions. She said, you know, at first she was a little resistant, but she started asking all the questions. And when she came home, she was like, I was from Tuskegee and I knew all the answers. So that was last year. Then this year she said, Mama, the labs are going. We do this. That's my qualitative. That's my oldest joy. So not just from a standpoint of an administrator, I see the Tuskegee way. So when we look at the accreditations, I can attest to you, we have a 10th president. You have an admissions department. Let me say she has recruited my youngest to join us in the fall. And student affairs, a provost, infrastructure. We might not be perfect, but I can guarantee you that we are what we call, my mother always said to her in her internship, you gotta work at 7 to 3, that's a lunch bucket job. And that's what we do. We come to work every day with our hard hats on and our suits rolled up to serve the students, the alumni, the people of Tuskegee University. And you can believe that's what we're doing, and we are doing it, as President Brown says, the Tuskegee way.
All right.
Do you?
You know.
This is my first time trying this. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good evening. What are the pastries, alumni, and my colleagues here, and also Dr. Brown. Thank you for the opportunity. It's really an honor to be here. 1987, July, I came to Tuskegee University. I just have to say that because this is alumni. I graduated in 1990. And then 15 years I worked for Tuskegee University. And then I went to University System of Georgia for 15 years. Then I did some consulting for 4 years, came back June 22. I'm really my charge today is there are a lot of things that you all, I don't have to share what the importance of information technology to any one of you. It has to work all the time. It has to work no matter where the students are. It has to work and make sure the distance learning students are always on their time to study. So my time or my colleagues' time doesn't matter for the students who is studying from another part of the world. And President Brown has set a vision that's going to challenge me and my colleagues of the Office of Information Technology. The first and foremost thing, before I share the highlights, is he already charged us to develop a data plan for the university. Without quality, always available data on a dashboard, it's hard to measure. So that's number one. And the other, the research and innovation and the trajectory towards R2 and then R1. Without the computing power supporting our research faculties, you saw the research funding that our faculties are bringing in, we have to really support them. And that really goes to our students. And being a product of engineering college, some of my classmates or colleagues are here, so really great to see them, and some of them in the back. I really appreciate their presence also. But those students are going to benefit of investing in technology. And so research computing, data plan, making sure everything is accessible 24/7, no matter where it is. With that, I want to share some small accomplishments in the last 2 years. We have our 70 buildings, all the old fibers when we had, all of them are replaced with brand new single mode fiber connected and ready to take care of the new computing environment. We have upgraded 54 classrooms in the 5 academic buildings area. So the faculty can teach with modern technology, at the same time the students experience the best in the classroom. And the classrooms technologies are developed, created to balance, doesn't matter whether you're in class or listening from a residence hall or from remote. It's a hybrid capabilities built in. The 53 buildings are now, it's about 51%, I would say, completed. 53 buildings of brand new wireless networking is covered with that. And we spent, we also spent almost 1.6 million to rewire some of the cablings on the campuses as part of these projects. The other major item is we also making improvements in the data center to bring more stability to the campus data and availability. And so that is the total investment, $5.5 million we invested, and this is the accomplishment in the last 2 years. We continue to focus on the President's vision of data plan, research and innovation, and making sure our freshman who is coming, almost 1,000, is ready to be supported. I know I will have plenty of challenge with guidance from my colleagues and President's leadership. We will make it happen. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy to be here this afternoon to provide an overview on many infrastructure improvements that we've made over the past 2 years. I think you heard Dr. Brown mention in Thursday's reception of more infrastructure needs to come, and I heard him say on a few occasions, let the main thing be the main thing. So why he didn't say this, I'm hoping the infrastructure is one of the main things. But again, next slide, please. Just want to give you some perspective in terms of what we've done in the past and projects that are underway and projects that are in the queue, either in the bid award approval phase, where we completed about 15 million in capital improvement projects. Projects is underway now, about 49 million. Projects again that's in the bid award approval phase, about 33 million. And then we had special projects that were attributed to COVID-19 funds that we were able to take advantage of. That we made a lot of improvements in our HVAC systems. Next slide. And so again, just to give an overview, many of you may be aware of some of them, but new turf, stadium improvements, new field house, Sage Hall was one, Chalmers building, controls, HVAC upgrades. Next slide. Again, Young Hall was another mechanical upgrade, and Commons A was a capital improvement. Many of you may remember the project, the building below as the Savings and Loan Building. And now it's the Campus Public Safety and Legal Center. So again, we made continuous strides in some of our older facilities and repurposing those facilities. And then you can see what that facility is, and it's in a marquee location. So hopefully you can take the opportunity to visit it once you're on campus. Next slide, please. Just going real quickly, I'm unlike Dr. Griffith, she only had 2 slides, but I have many. So Campbell Hall, interior renovation. Obviously, we know, many of you may know what Campbell Hall is a part of our College of Agriculture, Environmental and Nutritional Sciences. Also, Henderson Hall, we had a new construction project completed in 2013, and obviously the basement at the time was just a shell space. And so we've been able to go in now and complete the shell space and add additional labs in that facility. Next slide. The facilities condition assessment, I want to just talk about that briefly. I'm excited about this one because we really need to know our report card as it relates to our infrastructure, the state of it. We know it's aged. And so this here is what an assessment that that was done, that's completing now as we speak, and it really gives us a lot of information that we can make a lot of data-informed decisions in the future as it relates to how buildings are renovated, and even some tough decisions if buildings should be demolished. And so, again, those are all decisions that we could use the assessment as a guide to give us some good feedback in terms of how we inform us for decisions now and in the future. Chairman's Annex, really excited about this one because this building has been offline for a very long time. And we were able to go in and repurpose and renovate this facility at a very economical price, $400,000, and within budget. So again, if you're on campus, stop by, take a look at it. It's a very cool renovation there, and that facility is going to be a supplemental facility for our band. Next slide. Tompkins remediation. This is a project, kind of a sore subject for me and maybe for some of you that may be aware of the history, but we have received water intrusions in this particular facility shortly after the renovation was completed. And so in an effort to stop further deterioration of that facility, we're moving forward. We've addressed the water remediation. Also, we've enhanced it. So it's going to be a better Tompkins Hall, and hopefully if you come back in August on campus, take a look at the basement, the exterior, and I think it'll be nice in some improvements you're seeing around Tompkins Hall. Adams Hall, I know many may have questions about Adams Hall, and the state probably heard that it was scheduled to be completed in August, and that has changed. That completion date is in October. Ran into some resource challenges, just being candid, but we have a plan, a recoverable plan that allows us to occupy the space in October. Meanwhile, David Davidson Hall, if you roll on campus, you probably say, well, they're going to be done here. And the answer is, yes, we got a long way to go, a short time to get there, but we are confident and poised to be complete in August to accept those students that Dr. Griffin, Dr. Rice has done a great job of, I would say, doing her thing and getting here. So we're proud that we're able to support her as we grow our enrollment. Chapel, I know that's been a subject that a lot of you have wondered, when is it going to start? And so one of the things you can imagine with the uniqueness of the roof, there aren't any 90-degree angles on the chapel. And so we've had to do some engineering, shop drawings, and it's taken some time, but we are poised to start in October. We'll have to work through some logistics in terms of things that's already scheduled for the chapel. But we'll be hopefully starting in October, November, and completed in February. And that would include, this for some of you that may not know, skylights, the plaster that we've seen that's deteriorated, and lighting. Yes. Next slide. I don't know, I'm proud to be one of those athletes in that when it comes to Eric. But excited about this one. I don't think Dr. Brown will let us have any night games this year. But we will be able to have a new element and something that we can plan around in the near future. But we will be scheduled to start in August. Obviously, it's an exterior exercise in terms of the scope of work. So the weather right now is kind of unpredictable in the sense of the afternoon showers and so. But we're projected and slated to start in August. First phase is going to be October, and that focuses on the football stadium itself. And then second, we'll move to the softball field and the baseball fields respectively for a December completion. So TU. So Red Beat processing, I'm sure if Dean Bolden was here, she'd be excited about this one. We're moving forward with this red meat processing facility, and that's just what it is. In other words, it's a slaughterhouse, and so we're sending in a nice way of processing facility, but it'll be a teaching facility as well for our students, so another great addition. You heard Dr. Hargrove mention about the new genomics facility Right now, it's pending the NIH approval, and once we get that approval, we're hitting the ground running. So we're hoping to start construction around the September timeframe. Parking lot, in order to accommodate the renovations at Olivia Davidson Hall and Lewis Adams, we do need parking to minimize some of that congestion, and so that's going to be a parking lot in the rear of Olivia Davidson Hall. We're not taking over the valley. And these are just projects that we were recently approved. Many of you, I see some classmates of mine that here, they probably stayed in the Commons. And let me just say something about the Commons. The Commons weren't constructed in the best workmanship. That were brick that were put on the slab with no flashing. And I will say at university, we probably haven't done the best job in maintaining that facility across campus.
I apologize for interrupting, but can you speak into the microphone?
Sure, I'm sorry.
I would appreciate it. Thanks so much.
But Commons is another renovation that we were recently approved, and we think it'll be a new welcome, improved addition to the campus once it's completed. We're going to basically go ahead and re-gut Commons D and come back new and hoping to reset the life cycle of that particular facility. So we're hoping to start construction in November, and it will be ready to operate August 2025. So. Universal Apartments, many of you may know as Merit Student Apartments, another two renovations that we're looking to start this fall, and again, it will be completed in August 2025. Russell Nursery, I think Dr. Sanders mentioned Reach Center, and this is going to be the new home for the Reach Center. You can see some of the renderings, and we're hoping to be able to reflect what you're seeing, but it will be a welcome addition for our students from that standpoint. Reach. Yes. Next slide. And these are just going to these real quickly. All of these are COVID funds, and we really use these funds to really improve our HVAC infrastructure. Probably know again that some of the infrastructure on some of the buildings is almost as old as some of the facilities. And so we were excited that we had the opportunity to improve Armstrong Hall, Embry 1 through 4, Williams Bowie, the Kellogg, and Basil Common. Chris, I'm sorry. And last two really just special projects in Montgomery, Washington Hall. That was a Kicking Chicken, and we're going to repurpose that space to a Chick-fil-A, which will be a welcome amenity. And only to the campus to the community as well. So we're looking forward to that completion in November 2024. Lincoln Gates monumental repair unfortunately had some windstorm damage in May, right on the eve of commencement. And while it's taken longer than we had hoped, we will be moving forward shortly in August and rebuilding the wall, like Nehemiah said. So we're going to rebuild it back stronger than it was. So that's my presentation. And I'll have it again just
So we're going to open it up for questions and answers. I want to remind you all that this homecoming will be the 100th. I got this yesterday from A.D. Ruffin, and he told me to wear it, but it's made from muscle. So I didn't wear it. It looks like a dress when I put it on. But trust me, we're going to wear these, we're going to market them. I want you all to support it. We plan a lot of great things for you on the 100th homecoming for Tuskegee. So thank you, staff. They did an amazing job, I think, of getting But I believe we have time for questions and answers, and I want to hear whatever you've got.
Right here. Y'all don't need a microphone.
Yes, ma'am. I'm waiting.
My human microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. To facilitate this, we're going to get each person to give 3 questions. Each person get 3 questions because we have to speed this along. 3 questions. Each panelist get 3. Each panelist get 3 questions. So, can we start from left to right? Or that's not feasible? Okay, all right.
We are comfortable with whatever question you want to ask anybody. So
okay.
If you've got a question, fire away. We're ready. That's what we're here for.
We'll start with Dr. Harrington.
Age before beauty. Still alive at 85. First of all, seriously, I want to express appreciation to you, Dr. Brown, for inviting your staff, your top-notch staff in to inform the alumni. And the other day with the deans was just as important. And I want to say thank you. I have pledged and will on Tuesday upgrade my my will to include the Department of Education in my will. And I saw something else, I might have to add a little more. But I want to say to the alumni, we've heard it from not the horses, Mama, you know horses. We've heard it from the truth, and it's the truth. And we will stand by you. Till you!
Okay. I am Charlotte Littles. If you did not know who I was before, I'm sure you have received a text message or an email. My ministry is recruitment. My goal this year, I will bring 200 students to Tuskegee. But I need a little bit of help from you all. Dr. Courtney, you know me. I cannot express how happy I am to see this team together. Dr. Keith, I cried. I prayed for you to come back. I prayed for you to come back. You know you're my favorite person. And Dr. Mark, you're my favorite person too. Okay. I could not see you on the board, but the application fee was going to be $25. Okay, you know I have a problem with that, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, I received some marketing materials a couple of months ago. I got some black and white lanyards. My table gonna look like a rainbow table. I'm not gonna have that. So if I have to pay for the materials for myself, I will, but I want everything that come out of there to be red and gold. I don't want anything other than crimson and gold. Like I said, if I have to pay for my materials, I will. I'm not putting that black and white stuff on my table. So our retention rate, we mentioned that we had some dips in retention rate. What are we in comparison with the rest of the country? Because retention was one of the things that I sold Tuskegee on.
Where we are. Great question. I'll give you some numbers.
Okay.
Spelman's retention is 89%. Howard's is 88%, and Florida A&M is 90%. When we look at retention, we're looking at from your first year of your freshman year to that cohort, that first year to their sophomore year. So we have a challenge there, okay? Our freshman to our sophomore retention. We have looked at the data, and we have a gateway course that is challenging. Our Math 107. Mm-hmm. We have, but our Math 107. So what are we doing about it? What we have done in the past is we have done our peer tutorial sessions. What we did this fall, something new, is faculty recitations. But one of the beauties about having President Brown here is that now we are going to embark on another initiative that will help us tremendously with our retention, and then students first.
So we know why students don't leave after their freshman year. They're frustrated academically from what they call the gated course, and math is certainly one of them. You say, how could that be if they got a 3.0 and you only accepted it? It's irrelevant data, right? 3.0 is a relevant number. And if you went to school somewhere where it was easy to get a 3.0 or 3.2, it's misleading when you get to college rigor. So our intent is to engage them early under our Students First program with counseling. That's the first reason. The second reason is money. They don't come back because of money in their sophomore year. So we have to audit students financially to make sure they know that the money you get in your first year doesn't necessarily look like the money you get in your sophomore year, your junior year, your senior year. So, ma'am, you make a good point. 70% is unacceptable, and we're going to engage it.
Okay. Do we have enough dorm rooms for the incoming class if we give them?
No, ma'am.
We do not.
No, I mean, there's no question about it. We don't have enough dorm rooms for the people, I think, that would first desire to stay on campus. And we don't have enough dorm rooms because one of the projects is late. And because of that, we'll be moving students to Auburn for a couple of months, moving them back on the shuttle service. But I'm happy in that Dr. Rice and his team are developing the same controls, the same security, the same oversight in Auburn that they would have had the person been on campus. And they've got shuttles that are going to be active, and we're only talking about 2 months of time. But just to be clear, even when that dorm is complete, we need a new dorm.
Yes.
So to answer your question, we do not. We have a plan to get there.
The last thing that was not addressed, the medical director. What is the status? Do we have a doctor on campus full time? Because there was a time when we did not too long ago, that we did not. So can you speak to that for me?
Yes, ma'am. Happy to answer your question. I think a very good question. We have a licensed MD, but we also have a registered nurse on campus as well, something that we have not had in the past. And so we're also changing the operating hours to sort of fit student needs, because we know that from 8 to 5 they're in class. And so we're going to have to flex those schedules a little bit to ensure that our students get the same service they could after 5 o'clock. So yes, Dr. Melissa Harkins is the MD, and we hired an RN, I believe, in April of last year. Oh, and we also have on-med and telemed as well. Yes, thank you.
And Ms. Little, I just wanted to give you, give everyone, the application fee is free until the day after Labor Day. So if you have students that want to apply, it will not go active until September 3rd. The week of homecoming will also be a free application week. We also participate in the Alabama Free Application Week. So there'll be different periods throughout the year that students can get that. Certain college fairs, we will waive those colleges. But we don't want it, if it's free, you know, I forget the saying about what's free is not always appreciated. So we will be instituting that application fee. Additionally, the recruitment materials will be available for purchase for some groups. That particular set of materials was an error on 4imprint, but we are authorized through 4imprint. And so you'll be able to order those yourself as well.
We start taking applications August 1.
August 1st, applications open, and then the application fee is waived until September 3rd.
Tondalia Sears, class of 85, Greater Pensacola Tuskegee Alumni Club, VP, and also I grew up in Tuskegee, Alabama. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Hargrove, who spent some time on the phone with me last homecoming regarding our recruiting problems we have in Pensacola, Florida, as the Greater Pensacola Tuskegee Alumni Club. We are still having challenges, but it looks like Dr. Brown has brought a good team that we are depending on. One of our biggest challenges we have in Florida is obviously kids like to use the in-state schools because the tuition is less. So one of the things I'd like to really get the contact of admissions, a person that I can talk to kind of help us with that challenge. Because I understand some kids can be transferred, you know, with the procedures that they can transfer from a school in Florida. So we want to better understand that. So if you would, I could get your contact before we leave, for sure. The other thing is, we are hearing about the CARE training for recruiting. We are not knowledgeable on that, so I really want to understand how to do that. And I can take that back to our club. Thank you.
Thank you for those questions. So what I do is I go on the Tuskegee alumni webpage. I email that to the regional directors and the club presidents, and I'll allow them to disseminate that information to their club about who they want to designate or share the information about the CARE training. I think we did about 4 or 5 last year. So please, if you have not received it, and we have one on August 11th, if you want to go ahead and email us, my email address is just cgriffin@tuskegee.edu. I can send that out to you.
Okay, is that CARE training via Zoom or?
It's via Zoom.
Via
Yes.
Zoom. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Dr. Brown, on behalf of the Tuskegee University National Nursing Alumni Association, and I would like all alumni of the School of Nursing to please stand that were in the room. I would like to say welcome to you and your team, and to state that we are here in support of everything you do, especially the beloved School of Nursing. Thank you. Thank you all. So my question. I've heard here today and heard some of yesterday that we believe what U.S. News and World Report says about us, and that we strive to achieve better based on their rules. But I also have heard that what the Alabama Board of Nursing posts on their website, we use a suspect and we don't recite those numbers. But I want to give you some examples. 2021, the Tuskegee University board scores were 64.71%. 2022, 65.15%. 2023, 65.52%. And they don't hide how they arrive at those numbers. And we know, and have long known, that these numbers not only include new graduates, but previous Tuskegee graduates who dutifully paid their tuition and fees, did what you told them to do in order to graduate, receive that sheepskin for which they cannot use because they have not passed their boards. And so, therefore, I have here a list of 15, Tuskegee University School of Nursing has an over 130-year history of nursing. And nursing is only started, professional nursing started only less than 30 years before. So when we talk about Booker T. Washington being a visionary, the man was a visionary. Then we fast forward to 75 years. As of last year, we are the first baccalaureate nursing program in the state of Alabama. And we remain the oldest program. But it's my understanding that also the head of the Alabama Board of Nursing is a graduate of Tuskegee University School of Nursing. So we have, and I have here a list. We used to be 18 out of 19. In January 2024, we were 14 out of 15 baccalaureate programs, and today we are number 15 out of 15. Those are unacceptable. And I'm sorry, when you stand before us and not give us the real story, it's a little disheartening. And I've spent the last year, like you started July 1st, and I've got a tremor that gets worse when I speak, so I apologize. But Like you, I started July 1st of 2023 and have spent a year just simply trying to get them to restart the advisory board, which was started in 2024, but the Alumni Association was not invited to participate. So I say that to say, don't drink the Kool-Aid. We have a problem in the School of Nursing the same way you can verbalize a problem in OT and veterinary medicine. Verbalize the problem because it exists. And come 1 October, nobody wants to predict the future of failure. But we have offered and offered and offered and made recommendations and recommendations that have not been accepted, not been listened to, not been supported. And I can tell you as an alumni who, you know, they talk about eminent associates. I'm an eminent associate, Silver Presidential Associate. But you know what? That and 50 cents will get me a cup of coffee because it will not get me an audience to someone who will listen. So I can only tell you, we're happy to have you here. I've sat here and stood here in other capacities with other presidents before you with the same hope and thoughts for the future and willingness to not only donate but participate, and have been disappointed multiple times. As an alumni, I hope I am not disappointed, sir. As a veteran of the United States Navy and the Air Force, and a second-generation veteran, I hope I am not disappointed, sir. But you know what? If I'm still living, I'll go on if I am disappointed, but I'm hoping not to be.
All right. Let me first thank you for your candid answer. I will just take a fundamental disagreement with one little piece, and then I'll tell you where we're going. So, very well aware of the Alabama data. And just because we didn't show all the data on the slide is not that we are not aware of it. Have made at least 2 trips to the nursery school. You can talk to the dean over there since I've been here. I'm aware of where we are, and we're talking about pass rates, right? At the end of the day, we're talking about our students are not passing the exams. I think we've done a deep dive on why we believe they're not passing the exams. I think we showed some percentages that shows that that number is increasing. But please don't get it wrong. We have a fundamental challenge in nursing. We have a fundamental challenge that I think we have at least the beginning of an understanding. Now, what I don't know, ma'am, is the audiences that you requested and the audiences that you did not get. But I assure you, if you would like to sit down, if you would like to have an advisory board, I am open for that. And I am open from listening to you. But I will say, in defense of the staff and in defense of the folks that stood here before me, they have paid attention to nursing. They aren't there yet. It's not an overnight answer. But I have confidence that their heart's in the right place. Now, what we're going to add to that is a little bit more, I think, data-driven decisions. I think our decisions haven't always been data-driven. You just named some data, right? That's not questionable. So we are going to put that into the program. So let's do this, and I'll make an agreement with you. You don't need to wait till next year. Right? If you want to meet in the next 60 days, if you want to form an advisory council, I'm committing to you that I will do that. And more than happy to do it and listen to you in details. Now, I will tell you, it doesn't mean we're going to do every suggestion that we get, because we're going to have to weigh it with everything else. But are we going to focus on the nursing program? Absolutely. And are we going to use the data, both the Alabama data, the national data? And it's not so much that we believe U.S. News and World Report, is that they get the vote. They get to determine the ranking. And so we have to educate ourselves on how they do that. We can't ignore them. But I'm with you. I know we don't want to take the entire day. I know you got other folks in line. But let's you and I talk before I leave today.
We will.
We come to conclusion.
And in August, we have a major donor who will be visiting the campus of Tuskegee University, and I hope he will be given the royal treatment. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
As my Tuskegee elders told me when I was on campus, I follow the 5 B's and be brief. First and foremost, thank you all, President Brown and the leadership team. Anytime y'all come before the alumni to share the progress and what you guys are doing, it is always an honor and privilege, and we are certainly excited, and I believe most of us here are both enthused and encouraged by the diligent and talented work that you are bringing before you. So definitely want to commend you for that. Definitely appreciate it. Number 2, to that same vein, I guess, as the previous speaker, and also in that light, I was taught that tithing was 10% of your resources, as we all know, but it's also your time and your talent. So this is not only to our illustrious alumni, President Brown, but to his entire leadership team, both present and not. You have a lot of very motivated, time and talented resources here before you, not only in this room, but across the world, that support the vision of Tuskegee, and we just want to be excited and engaged, and to increase the amount of communication that we receive, because there's been very opaque communications, put it mildly, over the previous decade or two. So we definitely want to make that request. And last and not least, there's one person that I really wanted to hear from today, and development and advancement. I want to hear that update. And to that end, I don't believe in saying anything while somebody's not present. But can you communicate, or is there any discussion amongst the leadership team or the Board of Trustees about addressing a capital campaign, which we have not had for Tuskegee probably since the mid-2000s?
Oh, absolutely. So a couple of things. So we don't have personnel discussions in open forums like this. But I will tell you this, so we are reimagining the entire developmental process and how we do that. And so you're just going to have to sit tight for a bit, and I would say we'll get that to you in the right way. In terms of a capital campaign, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I hit on that a little bit the other night. We're going to have